only 11 meters is not up and running yet. CQV.
Okay, I think I can try and give this a shot now.
And Joe, you got your audio back.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, the world is great now. We've got audio and video.
Imagine that.
Just remember, just when you think things can't possibly be any worse, you find out how naive you were.
Bob, you sound good.
Yeah, he's got the big antenna. Well, let's see if the jingle singers are actually hooked up and functioning here and over in the other studio.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Hey, well, that's good. Stan and the jingle singers and X4000 all seem to be functioning over in the Studio B. Hi, the Old Tube Radio Network had a big computer malfunction just before the item here, but I think everything is back. We will see what we can do. Let me see if the control room camera is working. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And I guess what is the holiday version of the Old Tube Radio Network, OTR, beaconing across the airwaves on a Saturday evening from the Central Valley of California for the last 35 years. Channel 11-27085 is where we are at if you're listening to us locally, or perhaps in the DX zone, which I'm not sure will happen tonight. I see that they have come in and decorated, at least decorated the control room. I know down in the green room tonight, everything is festive. So check in tonight, won't you, and enjoy whatever it is they have to offer. I will commence with all the other formalities so that we can get going here, albeit a little bit late. But thanks for joining us here. And we will start with, you know what, I'm going to extend for 1 week the SWL. Actually, tonight I think would have been the new SWL items, but I'm extending that for 1 week due to the other item that was going on here. So next week we will be doing the SWL. So I will ask if Mike is out there to check in as 00 for a extended bonus check-in here.
Well, good evening. Yes, I actually am out, and please don't feel bad about computer issues that you may have been having. At one point in time, I had my antenna switch all lined up. It was actually like the first position was the first tube radio I'd ever purchased, and the second position was the second one, and so on and so on and so on. And I don't know what happened. I started pulling radios out and putting them back in and all sorts of stuff, and then I realized everyone was suspiciously quiet this evening. And then I kind of poked my head around and realized that I had two transmitters basically hooked up to each other. Please don't ask me how that happened. So you gave me an early Christmas gift of buying me time to make sure that this just horrible mess of antenna wire got straightened out at least a little bit. But anyways, good evening, 00.
All right, good evening. Yeah, it is interesting how things, when you think the goes-intas and the goes-outas are doing what they are supposed to, they do not. But at least it sounds like you figured out the item of interest of the issue and have corrected such things. I think I have done that here as well, and I see that it says you are checked in up on the screen, so that part is working, and we will just correct them as they happen tonight. Thanks for checking in one more time.
Thank you. And I have to say thank you so much. What a privilege it's been to be 00 for a while. And I'm looking forward to someone else next week having the honor of doing that. It's actually really fun being the first person to start everything off. So thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. I don't hear any static from the blinking lights in the back. I think those are not LED lights that they put up on the less than stellar OTR Christmas tree behind me. So good job, whoever did that. I don't hear any wacky crackling into my headphoniums. SWL number 1, who always managed to decorate for the holiday season around the Radio QTH there. Also, let me go over to Mr. OBP, who is in the house. I do believe I saw Kevin up there. Says no sunspots today. Well, we are definitely in cycle 25. I was listening to 15 meters earlier, and there was only one station, one big contest station, probably with a kilowatt and a half, that was garnering some check-ins. So we will see what happens. Good DX on 80 to the East Coast. I've got the HF radio up on the line here tonight. So if I remember to put in the antenna, we will see if anything is happening on the HF bands. But it sounds a little bit light at the moment on 75 meters. Thanks, Kevin, for checking in. SWL number 3, I have a proxy check-in for Rob. Over to SWL 4. Shortwave listener 5, Ida Mama Rose says hello to all the old tube radio operators and SWLs. SWL 6. Shortwave listener number 7.
Number 7, checking in.
Okay, and sounding good in the neighborhood, which indeed you are in.
Yeah, pretty darn close. Rock throwing distance, practically.
I've got the, for those who watch the video replay back, I've got the S meter up as you check in, so if you ever want to know what your signal's like here at Net Control, you can see by watching the video, and it is always up there at the 20 or 25 dB over S9. Over we go next to, if I can find the right mouse, I had to reconfigure everything here. I think they're here. SWL 10 and Chrissy and Dwayne. Who is, I haven't looked at I see Dwayne is out there. Chrissy is probably making up a whole mess of holiday goodies. She has the recipes. So if you're there, Chrissy, we've got you checked in. I see Dwayne waiting. Okay. I see you both in there, so we got you checked in. Thanks. Over to SWL 13. It appears that the comment page is working over oldtuberadio.net, so I should see your comments if you check in there. I also check in on the video replay for any check-ins that way, and also on the Facebook page as well. SWL 14. SWL 15. SWL 16. SWL 17. And Eric posted, I'll have to see if I can find a really great picture of his setup that he checked in, that he used last week on the Courier Royale, and I think even the micro milliwatted walkie-talkie that also made it into OTR last weekend. SWL 18. SWL, I missed 16. SWL 16. I seem to do that, even though it's right here in front of me. And that's Charles, who's saying it's not his fault that the computer crashed. Everything was working perfectly at 7:30 in the PM, and they had gone back up into the balcony to check on things. So no, you all did a good job in getting set up. In fact, everything was up early tonight and functioning, so at least on the radio side. Anoka, Minnesota, as always. I don't know what are you up on, where are you? Right where you should be, right in the front row here. Let me see, I'm just punching in to see what the weather is in 55303. Mostly cloudy at 10:29 p.m. at 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So it doesn't say anything about snow, but a few clouds. And wear your mittens if you dare. Now let's go over to SWL 19. And that is Derby, New York by way of... Are you showing up as Belfast again? Yes, you are. Okay, let's see what's happening in Belfast, even though you're not there, where it's 19 degrees and partly cloudy. Well, you got Anoka by a couple degrees. Thanks, Chet, for helping out, getting things set up here before the show. Let's go a little bit closer to home, SWL 20.
Number 20 here. Check me in. 2954. And just in case, 135.
Okay, I have not heard him fire anything up yet, but I will get all the other check-ins. You are sounding good, and if the radio room stays warm, we will check in a couple of items from you.
Okay, sounds good. Especially this particular one, because what we were talking about last week, it does work, and I think I have it set right.
Yeah, it sounds good. We will discuss it when we start glowing in the dark here in a little bit.
Oh, this is fun. Okay, we'll talk to you later. We're out.
And then where do I go? Over to SWL 21, Mr. DD 21, Dirty Diaper 21, Mr. JT, who was on the key tonight. And you know, JT, it is going around. The problems you had with radios, I have not had tonight, but I've had it with the computer, the problems, that is. I have also had it with the computer. But it's working fine. It actually works quite well. I don't know why I decided to do what it did. Do I have the replay? Let me see if I've got... If you were on the tram, Ed will like this. You switched to some various trams, and I think you finally ended up... Let me see if I can find it. You finally ended up on the TR-27E.
10-4 on the high-heeled shoes there.
With the two of the heels.
I think you were receiving through that.
Heels there.
Yeah, I can see the S meter running, and it has some interesting knobs on it. It had. Let me see. I'm gonna pull the picture down so we can see. I'll put that up in the video. But if Ed checks in on his tonight, we'll have to ask, because I don't think he's got the red knobs like that. There it is. There's what we were saying. Hey, not bad. We're getting some. So take a look at the knobs. They're red inserted knobs.
Have Rudolph send it to you there, Roger.
And that is what goes on Old Radio Night. So check it out. I think it's about 5 or 6 p.m. here on the West Coast when it happens. Thanks, you 21. And I like the tram. SWL 22. SWL 23. And that would be Mitch. I'm going to have to scroll through the many and various comments to see where 23 Skidoo is tonight, to see where his holiday sleigh has landed. See what QTHE is at. I will search for you. So if you're out there, Mitch, I will find you somewhere. SWL 24. I hear Roger Beat, but I hear no audio. So I think that is you, Joseph. Give me a double key up. Okay, that's the way we do it. That's the OTR code. I've got you checked in. There was no audio at all. There was one syllable of audio that time, right at the beginning, so it is improving. Let's go over to, but I do have it checked in. Let's go to SWL 25.
Hello, Dennis, 25 checking in.
Hey, you are sounding good, and I hope you've got the Christmas tree all decked out and the lights up and are just sitting back with some eggnog.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And might as well proxy 74 in. And, boy, I heard a faint breaker for OTR out there. I'm not sure if you can hear him or not, but I can hear him.
Okay, let me pause. We'll enjoy the blinking Christmas lights as I say the break for OTR. We are listening. Or that could have been, 24 with the low audio as well. And I did get him in, and I did get you in. Thanks for checking in.
No, the break OTR is out there, Dennis.
All right, let me listen. I hear sideband, but I can hear that one out pretty well. OTR standing by.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, man. All right, bud. Take care of yourself. Merry Christmas. OTR, that's 650, and he said he'll be 10-8 next week.
Okay, yeah, it's my low antenna again, and always have problems heading up that way through the hills. Anybody on either side of where I'm at seems to copy him quite well. So 650, don't change a thing. I'll try to make it better here. Thanks for the relay, everybody. We've got 650 on the stamp here. Let's see. RSWLs are great. They've got the machines necessary to hear what's going on. Let's go over to SWL 27.
27's checking in via the FM crossband, KI6QEL.
And you know you're sounding good doing it. We've got you checked in, Dwayne. Got you checked in. KB6GFD.
Roger.
Funny how that works. He's got no delay between the 2 meters and the 11 meters. All those meters in between don't seem to cause any delay. He always picks it right up. Thanks, Dwayne. And then to the station we are waiting. We are waiting for some of that late, winter E-Skip DX. And I'm sure we could probably hear Gary out of Sacramento. I do think he is out there. Yeah, right in front of my screen. Merry Christmas from SWL 28 checking in. Hope there's some special holiday punch in the green room. I will check in with the Bob and Steve show out of Ohio shortly, and we'll find out what's on the agenda, the item over in the green room. I'm sure they have gone. I have not even seen the Costco card all week, so I'm sure they have gone all out and making sure that everyone has a great holiday item over there. And I'm sure, as Gary says, there's a lot of thirsty stations after running up and down the stairs to the balcony here. So we'll take care of you. No problem. Thanks for checking in from Sacramento, Gary. We've got the proxy check-in for SWL 29. Also, a check-in for SWL 30, who I know is listening in over on the big radio. Wherever he keeps the big radio, he's listening in just in case we get some openings, and he'll be checking in live and direct. Thanks, Dwayne. We got you in. SWL 31, that's Robert and Teresa. I need to look up at the top screen over here and see who all is listening. A lot of you. Starting up in the balcony from Fresno, we'll work our way down. The gang from Squamish is up there taking advantage of whatever they have going on up in the balcony tonight. And it looks like it's something good for sure. Hello to Kent, Washington, Oakland, California. Kerman is listening in, a couple stations. There's Hendersonville, Tennessee. Got you guys checked in. Should we do the weather report? Let's do the weather report from Hendersonville. See what's happening there, where the time is 10:26. It's 43 degrees, and they're showing rain. I don't know if it's actually raining where you are, but it's saying there's definitely rain going on in Hendersonville tonight. Hello to Toll House, which is up around these parts here in the Central Valley. Centerville, Virginia, coming up to you. Dallas, Georgia, coming up to you. San Francisco, hello to you. Where are we going? We've got Logan, Ohio, Moncks Corner, South Carolina, Canby, Oregon, coming up to you. Woodland Park, Colorado, always listening for that skip. Hello to Sun City, California. And, of course, our station's right down there in the footlights tonight, Charlie and Chet. Let's see if we've got SWL 32. SWL 33, myself and Boso Control, the Holiday Honking Proboscis. SWL 34, and that's Jimmy up there in, let me see if I can say this right, West Burbs of Chicago, up there in Batavia, railroader who is been on the Browning Mark II, the 69, TR 69 5-piece train. That is the one you had to piece together just before the Mark II and the Mark III tried to put everything, or the Mark III tried to put everything all into the one box. Maybe not as impressive looking, but still working out. They're on channel 15 tonight, so if you're out Chicago way working the skip, tune in channel 15 and wish them all Merry Christmas up there. Thank you, 34. Then we go over to SWL 36.
You missed 35.
Yeah, I did, because I was checking in this guy, so I don't hear 36, but I know I hear 35 over on the big page, and he was in last night on the sideband, on the Ditch Banks sideband net, waiting for that skip. Hey, Bill, I see you a couple minutes ago, and see, they're pulling for you here in Fresno. They don't let me miss a beat. Did you see it? I as soon as I unkeyed the radio and didn't call for you, it was like, hey, you know this guy, Mr. Bill. He's responsible for half the radios that you hear tonight. So we got you checked in. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
Speaking of Chris, how about SWL 37?
SWL 37 here, and good evening, Dennis, and good evening, Bill. Hope you're not too cold over there.
Hopefully not. I didn't see. I think he's listening in on another system. Otherwise, I'd call up the weather forecast for Cheyenne. But typically, he has a little snowflake or something coming down, so we know what's happening. Got you checked in, Chris.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 38. Shortwave listener 39. SWL 40.
SWL 40 checking in from Chinatown at 41 degrees.
Going down to low tonight of 30-something, like 35, 36. The dew point is probably right there at 41. So if there is not fog forming here in the city itself, it is probably in the outlying areas. So if you have to run out and drive, or maybe you're listening as you're driving, please be careful. Thanks for checking in. All right, next we will go over to SWL 41. That's Road Dog 507, somewhere around New York. Checking in, there he is. Also AC 244 WS 507. I have not checked in on the sideband, like 15 lower. See if any of the Alpha Charlies are out there. 41, let me click the button to get you checked in, and you are looking good from the Hudson Valley of New York tonight. Let's go over to SWL 42. I've got a proxy for 42 in the gang there. Crazy Eddie, SWL43, will get him checked in. Running out of space on the table. I don't know how that happened. I don't think I added radios that are dinky, and I have less space. How does that work? SWL44. That is Ray, who is probably out there earlier, and let me give a check-in. I'm not sure what QTH he is at, whether he'll be checking in live, local, late-breaking, or some... Oh, he's listening in online and live. Might be a delay for checking tonight, depending on the receive where he's at. All right, Ray, I see you up there listening. We do have you checked in. And looking good. He was out there last night on Ditchbank's sideband net. Let's go up to North Fork. Falcon, Paul, SWL45, over.
Hello, guys. You're sounding good. Plus, I got a good receiver, too. That helps. Check it in. 45, check it in.
Sounding good, yes. With my station, a good receiver is always a must on the other side. You are sounding good as well. Be looking forward to what you have warming up in the radio room tonight when we start glowing in the dark after the roll call. Then over we go to SWL 46. Checked in on the bonus. This is the bonus check-in for SWL 47.
Well, good evening. Officially from the Radio Lounge. This is SWL 47. Who's realizing that this is the last one before Christmas. And I got to tell you, a couple hours ago, someone was asking me about one of my favorite childhood Christmas memories. And, you know, to be honest with you, it was getting the Radio Shack catalogs in the mail and, you know, looking at their CB handheld radios that they were selling. Used to fantasize about owning those things, and look what we're doing now, talking on CB. So no, this isn't handheld, but still fun to use. So from the Radio Lounge, I'm wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, and I hope Santa brings you really one of those fun, delightful old tube radios, or maybe even a realistic TRC 217 or any one of its variants.
Yeah, where the heck do you get walkie-talkies these days? Radio Shack is back online, but I don't know if they're having the walkie-talkies. I never received a walkie-talkie. My brother we had some walkie-talkies. My brother got one of those Sears Space Patrol things with the code key and the Super Gen receiver. And we had a lot of fun with that, paired with the Hallicrafters walkie-talkies at 100 milliwatts that we already had. So, yeah. If you've been naughty, you know, take heed. There's still a few more days to swap yourself on that other N on Santa's list. Thanks for checking in. Let me try SWL 48, SWL 49, SWL 50. And I want to take a moment to say hello to a few stations. Well, I have the screen up here. Felix is listening in online on the video side. X4000, or as he's got it, Xmas 4000 tonight. I am decked out, as you can see, with the lights and Christmas and the holiday garb. That's about as close as I could find for something a bit festive. I was going to put a bow on the seersucker suit, and I thought, well, no, we'll give it a rest. Give it a rest tonight and go with something a little more official for the season. Who else is Sid Vicious? Sid Vic 321 is out there listening. Hello to you. The mighty Sierra Romeo in Foreland from a chilly evening in Rocky Mount, Virginia. Hello, Keith. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I think I was hearing a couple of 4 calls early this evening, coming through on 40 meters as the band opened up. Not a 9 call, though, as Brian, the mighty KUH, is also listening in. Paul, who was looking good on the old radio night, has made it over here to the Old Tube Radio Network from South. Where are you at? Arkansas? It looks like it's a typo, but I know it is not. So Paul is listening in. Just trying to scroll and see who else is out there joining us from Old Radio Night and from the various Facebook pages where there is all sorts of always great pictures that make me realize that I need more radios. Popcorn 913 reminding me of what I need to do. Popcorn and Ovaltine isn't that great of a combination, but it works after the net. Let's go to Arkansas. Thank you, Paul. Ask and ye shall receive. Let's go over to SWL 51. That's Dave. I will give you a chance to transmit, but I see that you are having a big noise problem, so I will get you checked in 305. And it comes and goes. A lot of people tonight saying that it was very quiet. It's like the most quiet they have heard it for a while, and then stations like Dave out in Sanger saying it is just a bunch of noise. But listening in on the video side, thanks, Dave. You sounded good on the sideband, that's for sure. SWL 52. And Jose, I don't know. I don't know how long Crazy Eddie has been around, and I'm just wondering how many Crazy Eddies there are. But if he was out there, we'd ask him how long he's been on. Let's try SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in, and Merry Christmas to everybody there. 10-4.
10-4. Yeah, eventually I got to you. I'm a little slow here tonight, but I'm just trying to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be on the screen and the radio is working. I smell things burning, but I think that's the tree behind me. I'm keeping an eye to see if there's smoke coming from the synthetic leaves. You are sounding great, and we've got you checked in.
Thank you.
There's all sorts of things that could be going up in flames here behind me tonight, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that none of that happens, at least on the air. Wouldn't that be cool? We'd have a nice video of it, of me with the fire extinguisher. Over to page 3. Getting a check-in for Larry, SWL 54. Also, SWL 55.
55 checking in.
All right, I was about to give you a proxy check-in, and I don't have to. You're sounding loud and clear in the Midtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
And the station that never has anything go wrong. Phil has been checking into the net for a lot of years, like way before the 21st century, and I have never heard him have a problem with anything over there. So he must have a well-oiled OTR machine. Hello, 56.
Well, good evening, Dennis and the net. Wishing everybody a Merry Christmas.
It's all those little mechanical guys that run around in the Radio Shack there and keep things going when you least expect it. Thank you, Phil. Next, we've got hello to Levon, who is just checking in from HV 165 from New York. All the way here to the left coast, Central California, Fresno and Clovis and Sanger and Reedley and all the places out here that are going to be fog covered in just a moment. Where are we going? Looking for SWL 57. At North Charleston, you need a few tube radios, and then you can put a few less logs into the wood stove. But of course, it's probably a lot colder there than it is here. Let's try SWL 58.
Hello, Dennis. SWL 58 here. Hope everybody's having a great evening. And I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and looking forward to 2021. Be here before we know it. Back to you, sir.
It will. I think we've got one more broadcast, as it were, on the old Tube Radio Network before the new year. This is the one before Christmas. SWL 58, Jeremy at the microphone on, like I called him on the contest station tonight, putting in a big station, and he also is the net control for the Ditch Banks sideband net, which happens on Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on 36 lower. That's 27,365. Everyone is welcome when the conditions are running or not. Let's see. Do I have any audio of the Ditch Banks net?
And we'll call for
hey,
yes
there he
seconds
is.
At the end. And look at that. Mr. Bill is saying yes and hello there on the chat. So if you're on YouTube, the stream is working tonight. And Red Monkey himself looks like he's joining us as well via YouTube. If there's any stations that I can't hear, if somebody could say relay, I'd appreciate that.
There it is. Great audio, and when things don't blow up like they blow up around here on the Ditch Banks sideband net, Jeremy puts up on YouTube under the Ditch Banks SSB net a screen of SDR, of his SDR receiver. Pretty cool. You can see your signal coming in, check how your audio is and what your signal is. Cool stuff. That's the Ditch Banks sideband net every Friday. Most Fridays at a radio near you on 36 lower here in the Central Valley. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, sir.
Then we go to SWL 59, SWL 60.
Thank you much, there, Dennis, and happy holidays to all the fellas out there. This evening we're checking in on 457, Dennis, kind of blowing the dust off of it. I hope we got audio.
You've got audio. I could tell you were on something different, but it is beaconing into Midtown just fine.
Well, thank you much. I guess we can put this one back in the closet.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got the custom dust cover for the 457 for the realistic Navajo, and you can put it back there and put a post on it with the inspected by number 60 A-OK.
Okay, Dennis. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Thanks for checking. And just a reminder, we do have the glow-in-the-dark radios coming up after the net here on the old Tube Radio Network. We'll be checking in with Bob and Steve out of Ohio, probably at the page turn, see what's happening at the in the green room tonight over behind the rack of audio gear here. I want to say hello to the Google bots from Mountain View who are tuning in just for a moment. I don't know. They sort of go by, and I think they check to see if we're doing anything not legal. But we are always above board here in the old Tube Radio Network, and they never stay long, and that is their loss. I think they would actually get a kick out of listening to all the check-ins here at the old Tube Radio Network. Hello to Butterbean. We're getting to you shortly. And Captain Robert is also checking in. Captain Keyboard. 97 Boston says hello, and I chuckle. It says, great show, and I watch all the reruns. that is where I should be delegated to reruns. Let's try SWL 61.
61, checking in,
SWL 61, that is Dean also checking in and sounding good on AM here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. Then over to SWL 62. And moments ago, over on the video, SWL 63 from North Georgia. Butterbean, were you on old radio night tonight? I was in and out. And usually I see you on the chat, but you are here on the old Tube Radio Network, so you are definitely checked in. Over to SWL 64. SWL 65.
SWL 65 checking in.
65, you're sounding good, Eric. Good signaling into the station here tonight, and we've got you checked in.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. This is the first transmission from the old house property. Finally got it set up, moved up here, and that's why you haven't heard me for a little while.
All right, good. Good to know that you are back up in the saddle, albeit maybe not exactly as you remember it, but boy, you've got a great setup for the station, so hopefully you will be able to continue with what you need to do up there. Thanks for taking some time out to say hello.
Hey, thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
Next we go to SWL 66. And SWL 67. Where did Bill go? I saw you. Oh, he's waving a hand way up there in the balcony. He's got one of those little LED, those red LED, not LED, what am I thinking of? Laser lights. He's playing laser tag with me down here tonight, getting my attention. Canby, Oregon. Looks like it actually puts you in on the right item. Let's see what's happening in Canby tonight. Up, I don't know, 600-700 miles north of here, where it is, of course, 8:47. It's the same time. Wind and Rain. That is a great song. Who does the song Wind and Rain? Grateful Dead and some others. The dreadful wind and rain at 9 p.m. at 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, at least you've got a better temperature than we do. Stay out of the wind and rain there, Bill, and thanks for checking in. Bill was a local station here, and now he is just waiting for that skip to happen, and he'll be checking in as well. Thanks for checking in tonight. Over to SWL 68. And I was looking. I thought I saw a Frisco, Texas in earlier, and then it went away. And that might have been the long-lost 68. How about SWL 69? That's Kenny. He checked in. He stopped by watching the replay, the YouTube video replay, so I don't see him on the list. So if you're out there, Ken, anybody want to say hello to Kenny? I'll unkey here, because I know he is going to be watching.
Hello, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny. All the best to you and yours, and have a very Merry Christmas. Dennis on the Tower of Power, waving a hand.
All right, thank you. And he is smiling and will probably leave a note as well in the DD21. Brown Dog Audio has been unchecked in. I guess you can do that. When you're in net control somewhere else, you know how to do those things. You know how to reach underneath the computer and uncheck. I'm checking you back in again. We may be doing this all night. So fasten your seat belt there, Brown Dog. Let's go to SWL 70. Present and accounted for. I can see the lights. If I look out the window behind me here, I can see the lights way, way out there. You've done a good job.
As have you. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, I had to pull out one of those Christmas tree light streams that when one goes out, none of them go out. So I think there's only, out of the 20 that are on the string, I think there's only about 7 that are working, but that's the ones I positioned in front of the camera. Thanks for checking in.
Merry Christmas.
It's a little trick. We TV guys know what to do. It's like the lens only sees so much, so make sure that whatever it's looking at is what you want it to see. Let's go up to Dallas, Georgia, up to Foreland, or over to Foreland, and say hello to Stan, who is listening in tonight. I'm working on the HF, Stan. I still don't have any really good stuff for 40 meters at nighttime on the wire, but I may be able to do something on 15 or 20, even with the Wacko vertical here. Thanks for checking in. Let's go to Eric in Clovis. 72. How about 73? $74. I'll get 74. Miss Julie checked in. SWL 75. SWL 77.
Good evening, Dennis, and all the listeners. Tower of Power transmitting out of the Tower District on a .64. Giving it a whirl and see what kind of signal it's putting out. All the best to everybody. 73, 77 checking in.
The .64 wavelength is working well, able to hear stations I can't hear. And when the band opens up and Dwayne and the Colorado and stations and Oregon stations start coming in, you will probably be the relay station tonight. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
Over to SWL 78. I see a couple of Washingtons. There's Bonnie Lake, Washington, and some others, but I don't think that's 78. But hello to Bonnie Lake. Also, our infamous SWL in Germantown, Wisconsin, listening in tonight. I wonder if that's who used to come in from Wisconsin. It was 49. I wonder if Brian is out doing some very distant holiday shopping. I don't know. It could be. SWL 79. I'm putting an X. I know Mr. DC is out there somewhere. He was beaconing in earlier, sounding great. SWL 80. And we will turn the page. I want to go, speaking of such things, I want to check into the Bob and Steve show. I need you know what I need is a jingle for them. Hello to John. John is waving a hand from Iowa. And X4000 says the video mode the computer just reset to the main screen, and I had to take half an hour to set everything back up. I was looking for, Crazy Bob made an ID. Let me see if I can play that. Do you guys have the ID? He's a real radio guy. Here's what a real radio station ID would sound like if we were indeed that. Here we'll try it. Go ahead.
27.085 OTR channel 11.
All right, here you go. Whoopee. If I can get to the right screen here, I want to see what is happening. First of all, what is happening? Bob and Steve, it says, are you ready for winter? A lot has happened this week. Shopping for last-minute gifts. As I said, the Costco card has been missing all week. And food for Christmas. Bob and Steve hope everyone has a great Christmas, and I'm sure that we are certainly planning on that. After the net tonight, they'll be taking the Jingle Singers home in the limo, so they will be safe and ready for the holidays. I walked by the eggnog in my rush to get to the air chair here, and it smelled like it might have been a little bit more than eggnog. So I think taking the Jingle Singers home in the limo, that belongs to us. I thought maybe ETC had come back tonight in the limousine. Says, after the net tonight, taking the Jingle Singers home, so be safe and sane. Thanks, everyone, for a good and fun year. I agree with that. And at the bar tonight, Kentucky Fried Chicken and coffee. Well, that sounds standard and good. Don't forget to feed the fish. Yes, we use the Costco card. Yeah, I figured as much. Thanks, guys, for keeping it always festive here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to page 4, SWL 81. Steve Areno, who is listening at some point, whether it's live, Memorex, or on the replay, is out there, and I'm putting an X in the square for Mr. Unicorn, who has been checking in pretty much since this net started long ago. Over to SWL 82.
82, checking in from the Ditch Banks, Iowa. Good evening, all.
And good evening. Thanks for being patient. It's taken me a long time to get through the net tonight, but part of that is my problem for starting late. And of course, I just want to make sure that we get everybody present and accounted for. The ditch bank's sounding good.
Thanks, Dennis.
Dennis?
I don't have the big display like Jeremy does, so I can show the waterfall to everybody. But I don't think you would make mine look like a volcano. Who was the station calling for Dennis? This is the basic Dennis.
Chris, did you get old Crazy Eddie checked in?
Number 43, yes, I did.
Okay, yeah, all right. Just want to make sure you got him in there.
Got him in. Thank you for that. Where are we going? Oh, SWL 83. Epimetheus 83 is in the house, and I will get a check-in for 83. What is going on? He's checking in with 26 temperature, QTH of Colorado Springs. So you've got some altitude there. I don't know what it would be at about the 5,000-foot level. I bet it would be close to that. We've had a couple of stations checking in. I forgot to ask 55 what the temp was up there. But you are looking good. And thanks for checking in, and likewise on the Merry Christmas. SWL 84. I've got a note to get to Jerry and the gang checked in, and I will do that. SWL 85. The mouse is running slow. Maybe Larry is right. Maybe I just need to scrap this whole thing and start over. I think it's actually the Flash program, which is what all this is running on, and in theory is maybe going bye-bye. So I don't know. I'm going to have to seriously talk to Frodex and see if we're even going to have in 2020 an L-Tube Radio Net page, because it's all running off of Flash. And that is not a good thing. Okay, where are we going? Oh, I saw in the corner of one of my eyes. Let's go back to SWL 23. I see Mitch has wandered into the radio room, wherever it might be tonight. I'm not sure where that is. Checking in from the merch desk. Did I read that right? It's the merch desk outside of the Espresso Trucking Company Christmas benefit concert for laid-off baristas. They must have a great agent. They could always get the good gigs. T-shirt sales are slow, especially when you have those gigs up there in Colorado. You should be selling the hoodies, but the Christmas single is flying off the desk. They left us with was it a CD? They're holding it up. What are you holding up? Oh, they left us with an 8-track. All right. They left us with an 8-track, and I actually have an 8-track player, so maybe we will get to have a little Christmas cheer from Espresso Trucking Company tonight. Thanks, Mitch, for making it in. Just about at the end of the roll call, don't go away. We'll be having those very good-sounding old tube radio check-ins tonight. To SWL 89. Got a proxy check in for SWL 90, SWL 92, SWL 93. I've got a note to get 93 checked in, which I will do. SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
All right, thanks for being patient and staying up late so that I could call the 544. Hope all is well out that way.
Thank you, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas in your family and a Happy New Year.
Yeah, so far so good. Certainly planning on that. Let's go to the triple digits up to SWL 103. Shortwave listener 109. SWL 110. And let's see, I hope he is in a toasty warm spot. SWL 111.
Yes, sir, Dennis. 111 over here at Granite Park, and watching the ambulance go by. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. I came in town just so I could hear everybody. This thing hears everything, so that worked out real well. 650 is moving down here next week, and that's what he was trying to say. He's moving down here, and he'll be all set up next weekend. Hopefully get on OTR. Y'all take care. I'm going to start it up and go home. See ya. 111, clear.
All right, sounding good from Granite Park. That's kind of a good spot out there. Beacon's, it's central to everything. And Beacon out there sounding good. Thanks for beating the noise tonight. And we'll be looking forward to 650 sounding good in the neighborhood. Thanks, Robert. Robert in Reedley, 111, if you listen to the Ditch Bank sideband net, he puts in a great signal on sideband from Reedley. I think he has a lot less noise. It always sounds good on sideband. Wish we could get the AM to work as well. Over to SWL 113. Shortwave listener 114.
114, checking in.
And 114, you are checking in and checked in. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
And Warthog. You know, on our list, there are some numbers that don't exist because they have been either retired or removed for space or removed for time. Unfortunately, 95 is one of those, but if you're not specific to a specific number, did I say that right? I might be able to get you in on something. I will be reconfiguring the list next week, and it looks like we'll have some open numbers in our finite list. And unfortunately, 95 isn't quite there. I'll have to see. Sometimes I can finagle stuff when I redo the list, but I'm not sure about that. Speaking of the list, let's go to SWL 128. And I need to go over to this page and see if indeed 128 is in there. I see, yeah, John is wishing everybody a safe and Merry Christmas out from Fairfax, Virginia, another one of our Foreland stations. Also, I want to say hello to Mr. Cobra. Mike is also checking in and listening. Mike, if you are still connected, I see you waving a hand, and I will put an X in the square. Over we go up to SWL 131. SWL 133.
Good evening, Dennis. 133 checking in. I heard you mention bombing Lake up there in Washington. Used to be a great ham up there named Raleigh. It was Whiskey Bravo 7. Worth no fun. Great guy. A lot of contacts, but of course lately nothing coming from that area. I hope he's listening in, and we'll say 73 to you.
Okay, and 73 as well. Yeah, maybe 40 during the day, 40 meters during the day. I heard, I was listening to the SWAPnet earlier, and I heard the net control talking to a Washington station, which I could not hear. But of course, when the band's open on 20, probably hear them on 15, but always good. And some of the AM guys, there was Bothell, a couple of guys I talked to up in Bothell, and some other stations as well. So thanks for the shout out. And I don't know if they're still connected or not, but yeah, everyone is welcome to tune in to SWLN, the Old Tube Radio Network, where we try and recreate the sound of the tube radios and what CB radio might have sounded like back in the days when those radios were brand new. Thank you, Dave. SWL 135. I got a proxy for Cliff. Also got a proxy for 137. And then we'll go up to Tony. Are you hanging in with us? I know it's taken a long time to get there. Hello, 145.
Hello, Dennis, and all the other patient people. Tony in Course Gold. And I have a proxy for 226. I didn't get up personal, but he just wanted to wish everybody a a Merry Christmas, and I also want to say Merry Christmas and 73 to all. Have a safe one, and we'll catch you next time. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, back to me in the studios from Course Gold. Tony is sounding great. Thanks for hanging in until we got up to 145. I will get that's Jeff 226 checked in. I hear him on the sideband net. There is something about when Jeremy fires up the frequency, I hear all sorts of stations I can't hear on AM. So I will get Jeff checked in. Sometimes I should let him know. He should try seeing if he can get in on the simplex 2-meter frequency. He might be able to do that as well. So thanks for the double check-in. Next, we go up to SWL 147. I thought I might have seen Neil in earlier. Yeah, very quiet radios all week. Not many locals here when there's no skip. That is... I was just looking back at the early check-in sheets from 30 years ago. And that is the time when Channel 11 would fire up, of course, for the old Tube Radio Network. And there would be people on Channel 20 and 23 and Channel 5 and Channel 1 and 14, and they would come down and check in and on their radios and go back. And now, basically, this is where the activity is on Saturday evenings. There's, of course, stations on 38 lower, but gee whiz, it's just the amount of traffic isn't anything like it used to be 30 years ago. Well, and there's not a lot of stuff that it was like it used to be 30 years ago. Merry Christmas from the Carolina Sandhills. Thank you, Neil. We've got you checked in, but I hear what you're saying. And then let's head back up to Course Gold, where it is probably clear and cold. SWL 195.
195 checking in, Dennis, and I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and keep your nose clean.
I am trying. I have, like I was mentioning earlier, I'm sort of doing a lot of things to get myself on the other end, not that bad end, but the good end on Santa's list. So if I can just hold out for a couple more days, I should be good, because I've got plenty of coal to keep me warm. I don't need that. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis.
And let me say, any other stations that would like to check in, or I might have missed you, or whatever, come on in now. Hey, there's one. There's Richard, 78. Let me find the page from... Where are you checking in tonight? Wildemore at Warm Springs Ranch. Well, that's a misnomer, right? 48 degrees. It's 48 degrees at Warm Springs. So I don't know what it would be at Cold Springs. He's at the Winter House in Wildemore. Okay, up in the hills. And checking in. Thanks, 78. Anybody else?
Jumper's at 180, Dennis. You're sounding good still.
And likewise, you are 5 dB over S9. I think 180, is it elevated there?
Yeah, temperature's a high point.
Yeah, it's perfect. Boy, it's beaconing in. So altitude helps on the mobiles for sure. All right, I'm going to reconfigure the stream. I think everything is up and running for Tube Radio Ness. And we'll be back in moments with your old Tube Radio Network. If all goes well, you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
And the radio that Mr. Freeberg and Billy May and X4000 are talking about there is, of course, the Old Tube Radio Network, as they said. Real radio's glowing in the dark. I'm looking at the REA meter, if you're watching the video, and notice there's the little white spots around the 120% on the negative side of modulation. That is a reflection from the tree behind me. The blinking Christmas tree behind me is putting various little spots on the meter. So that's, let's see, where is that tree? Let me switch, see if I can switch the camera over. Yeah, there it is. All right, the festive holiday, what is that? Santa, is Bozo there? Bozo's behind me. I've got the festive Christmas vest on, and we will endeavor to check in your tube radios. Thanks for being patient. And the Old Tube Radio Network is listening.
Number 7.
45.
All right, well, it's not too cold for a couple of you. Paul, you will be radio number 2. Head on over into the green room, and I will be right with you. Stepping up into the air chair at, what time is it? 9:15 on the Pacific Standard Time. I am well behind here, so I will. We won't go any faster than necessary. I want to check in as many radios as possible. Hello, Mr. Ed.
And hello, Dennis, and to all the SWLs. This time bringing by the Tram TR27E. Looking at that other one, those were some interesting knobs. I have not seen knobs like that before.
Nor have I, and I'm not sure from looking at the pictures. I guess, you know what, I'm going to put up the, I don't have the rate. There we go, add radio. So what I'll do, let me go to the rig only, which is the page I want. Okay, right there. This is from October 1963. It is hard to tell from that picture, since it's monochrome, if there's any red inserts on the knobs. I think they look more like yours. Let me see if I have the picture. I know I'm doing a lot of talking here. We'll get back to you, Ed, because I want to hear your radio. Okay, I'm going to, let's see. I have to switch the camera over to this. And I'm going to slide the picture down for those watching, and I will try to describe it. Those are definitely different knobs than are showing in that stock picture. The meter is the same. But I'm thinking, because it's got the red surround, that may have been a configuration that they did for that 27E at some point, because they all match, and they look pretty cool, and they match the red spot button, and they match the dial surround. So that's what DD21 was on tonight, the radio he was using. And then, if I can do it the right way, let me go back here. Oops, that's the wrong picture. And then go back to, I need like 4 different computers to do this. All right, sorry about that. The people in the video are saying, what is he doing? Let's go to this radio. And then I have to click that. All right. It could be easy. This is what Ed is talking, and this is his radio, and this looks more like the one that's in the picture. Back to you.
Yeah, the little gray knobs there with a little indentation. Yeah, I've seen a few of the radios, and they had the exact same knobs as these. I have not seen those red ones like that before, but I really like those. I think it looks really nice.
That's why I'm thinking it was a factory thing, just because it matched, and you can see there's that little round, the white circle around the channel selector, and the other one sort of covered that. So I'm not sure if that's an first thing, and somebody said, nah, get rid of the red stuff, or they said, you know what, this just doesn't, we need to doll it up, make it look like, Golden Eagle's got all the golden knobs, so they put the red things in. Who knows? it's cool that they had different models like that. Now everything's sort of cookie cutter, unit and chassis. You get that stuff. But this is back when they were making these things here in the U.S. on a production line. People coming to work, making a good living, and all of a sudden they'd read the little note when they walked in saying, "Oh, by the way, when you go to the bin with the TR-27E, notice the red stuff." Yeah, that's what you'll be doing.
There you go. Well, definitely like the tram. I have the Electric Voice 638 microphone attached, and I've liked every single one of these trams I've seen so far.
And they do sound good. Good received tonight. I think JT was on, he had a couple. I think he started with the C model. Something happened, and he ended up with the TR-27E. A very good workhorse. It has worked well for you, for sure. Radio number 1 from Tram 1963 is when this radio came out. You can see there's, if you go to old2radio.com, I believe there's actually an advertisement for a couple of Tram advertisements, and this was the last of the TR-27 series before, I believe, the Tram Titan. Sounded good. Give us another transmission, and thanks for starting us off.
Oh, well, thank you very much for taking the check-in with the old tube radio, and I'll have another one in line shortly.
All right, thanks for that. Stepping up into the air chair now is SWL-45 Paul. As he's walking up from the green room, I want to say hello to SWL-52 from behind or in front of or around the golden microphonium. Aaron, if you're still on, I saw your post, and we have got you checked in officially over.
Okay, Merry Christmas. And I'd like to check in my Browning R2700 receiver.
Let me go to Browning and see how we have the Rolodex fit off for that. I know we've got an R2700 probably. And we actually have a front and a rear view. Let me go to that. And what is the transmitter that you have paired with the the R2700 receiver? Over.
It's got microphone. It's called, I guess it's switch in there, or right-hand side. You have to squeeze or turn that switch up or down to transmit on the thing. Back to you.
Okay, I think you're probably pairing it with the S9, which would have been, I think, a good combination. There is the rear view, and that shows the plug. It looks like the transmitter comes and connects into that, the coax, and there's also, I wonder if I can zoom in on that. Phones or external speaker. There's an adjustment for the S meter. What else have we got? All sorts of good stuff on that R2700. Back to you.
Yeah, Ray, buddy, this was one of the first Browning receivers manufacturers, CB receivers manufactured, year 1959. So that was pretty old back in there. Anyway, this thing is 8-tuber, 5-crystal control receiver with a VFO from 1 to 23 plus channels on this thing. Yeah, it has a manual microphone switch like I was talking about. And if you're I'm using Browning 23S9, like you said, transmitter, which matches real nice to it. Back to you.
All right, I'm going to see. I think I might actually have a picture of one of your 23S9s. Sometimes the Brownings don't come up on my Rolodex here just the way I would like them. Here's one. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It gives me the wrong stuff, but I think, yeah, this is it. I'm gonna bring the image address over and crank it out there. But you got good audio, and hopefully you're hearing me okay.
Yeah, well, I got a little note right on this thing. By the way, this is quite an unusual microphone. And I put an an extra voice microphone, but I have a Heil cartridge in this thing. You remember a number of years ago that Heil was selling these cartridges for these particular mics. I was lucky enough to get one. I wish I'd got a bunch more. But that's about it for it. Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
And thanks for bringing it by. Don't go away, Paul. We may have some more information for you. Go ahead, Harvey. Over.
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing him because of all my Christmas lights interfering with my radio because my antenna's low. Could you ask him if he's ever tried the Vox switch on his S9?
Paul, are you still listening? Over.
Yes, I'm listening, but I can't hear Harvey at all. That's why I go into my iPad, and right now I don't want to do that. Back to you.
All right. He mentions that there is I don't have a rear shot of your transmitter, but he's saying that there is the possibility that there is a Vox setting or a Vox switch on that transmitter, which is probably somewhere in the back somewhere. Have you ever tried or know of that you can run Vox with that transmitter? Over.
No, I never did. This is King. Well, I've got this hooked into the thing. I don't have to push that microphone switch down, if that's what you're saying. This radio is locked here together.
Okay, and Harvey, he says he is not aware of the possibility for that, or has not tried it. Over.
Okay, it's on the front on the right. When you flip it up, right below the on the air, the little box light goes on. He hasn't tried it. You have to have the mic wired so the element for the mic is on all the time. If you have a push-to-talk mic or grip-to-talk. Anyway, I was just wondering if he had it set up. Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Okay, I don't think I had the exactly right picture up for that, but we'll have to see. I know we talked about that last week for that transmitter, so it would be interesting to see how it works. And as we discussed, there's a lot of other settings that have to be just correct for it to work well and not anti-trip and everything else. Radio number 1, of course, was the Tram TR27E, and radio number 2, as you just heard moments ago from Paul up there in North Fork, the R2700 paired with the 23 S9 transmitter from Browning. And I made a chroma adjustment. I noticed that the whoever tweaked all the cameras tonight had really pumped the chroma up. I think they were trying to get more holiday items in there, but I was beginning to look more like a pumpkin than anything else. So you might have noticed a chroma reduction, which is a good thing. Let's see if the Jingle Singers are actually... They are having so much fun. I might not bug them too much tonight to come to the microphonium, but I do want them to at least give a few IDs tonight.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio is glowing in the dark. Let's see. Someone's heading away. Off to bed. Who was that? Well, it scrolled off my screen. But good night to you. I know it's late out there, so if you can't stay up late, thanks for at least staying up as much as you can. The Old Tube Radio Network.
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
And we are listening for radio number 3.
Can I be number 3?
You can be number 3. Is BDA, Brown Dog Audio, heading off tonight. Good night and Merry Christmas there. Yes, you can be number 3, please. Over.
You are listening to the Vox setting on the F9 R2700 combination of mine. It does work. And it is fun to play with and real touchy. If people are talking, I gotta have it set a certain way, and if no one's talking, you set it more sensitive. But I went, no, I'm not gonna do that. So what I do is, with one hand, I hold the mic facing the radio, and with the other hand, I adjust the volume control. So if I turn the static up, it'll key up the radio.
Is there a delay? Well, obviously there's a delay, but how much of a delay do you have when you stop talking and you're running Vox? How much do you have to wait for it to go back to the receive?
Well, you can see that it unkeyed because I hesitated a little bit. It depends. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's not. But I figured out a way to fix that problem. I thought.
Okay, here's another question. To do Vox, obviously you have to say something, but if the ping precedes your voice, do you get a ping? Do you have to say something and then stop talking while it pings? Or does it not, when you're in Vox, it doesn't do the receive thing?
Okay, it's in the Vox thing right now, but to defeat the delay, I'm using a push-to-talk D104. I just push in the bar on the D104, and that defeats the delay thing. See, it's still keyed up because I'm holding the D104. Now, that'll defeat that. So depending on how much noise there is in the room and such things, I can either use the delay and let it unkey through the Vox system, or if once I key up the D104, obviously it's out of the Vox setup, and I unkey the mic, it unkeys. But then I have to make sure the mic is not too close to the radio, and my hand is also should be near the volume control, because if it's up too high, it'll key back up.
Okay, I'm a little slow on this because typically for Vox, say for an amateur radio, the audio is listening to the audio through the microphone. It has to do that. You don't have to physically be holding the microphone and key it up when you're on Vox, but you have to have a microphone plugged in, but you don't have to key it. And like you said, if you key the microphone, and this is the same even if you're on Vox, on an amateur style radio that has the Vox control, it will key the radio, but in theory, let's see, are you still on Vox? No, you're because you're depressing the key. My question is, on a Browning, typically you key the microphone, the receiver is going away, the transmitter's coming up, you hear the receiver and transmitter talking back to each other, aka ping. So if you're running truly Vox and you're all of a sudden you say, hey, OTR, where is the ping? Does it not ping, or does it ping and you're talking over the ping? I haven't heard that happen yet, so I'm just wondering what would happen if you're truly on Vox to the ping, if you understand what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I understand, and you see when I say something into the mic, it keys up and you get that crashy ping.
All right, that makes sense. A Vox on a Browning seems like it's counterintuitive because of that reason. You'd have to reset the radio with the squelch, or what you could do is you could tap the microphonium, tap the key on the microphonium. That would key the radio. Oh, try this. If you tap the microphone and unkey it, will the Vox, now the Vox is going to pick up the receiver, is going to pick up the feedback. So when you unkey the microphonium, does it still stay keyed because it's in Vox mode? Or does the Vox mode, seeing that it's like, oh, I'm hearing myself, using the anti-trip circuit, then it shuts back down?
Right there, I just took the mic and held it near the speaker after you unkeyed, and the static noise keyed the radio up. But right now I am gripping the D104, and that's just, keying it up. Even though I don't need to, I could just keep talking. There is enough of a delay that I can take a breath, but once I key it up, or once I push the bar in, it defeats the Vox. So if I take my hand and off the key, let go of the bar, it will shut down with no delay, as I'm going to do right now.
Okay, well, good explanation. I just was a bit confused because I know how a Vox typically works, and there are very few CB radios that have Vox. This is one of them. We're talking with radio number 3, the S9 transmitter with the R2700 combination. And of course, the early D201s, I believe, had Vox in, but they also had sideband, which is where Vox shines the most. So I think that's why an early radio had Vox, and then they didn't show up until sideband radio started happening. But good explanation. It seems like it's a lot of work, but then again, those running the Brownings never shied away from having to do a lot of work to get the radio to run. Back to you for a transmission here on the Old Tube Radio Network, and then if there's a radio number 4 out there, we will pick it up. But thanks for answering all of my stupid questions. Over.
Yeah, I let the Vox key up. You heard me cough just now. Okay. People who know me know that I have this little tickle cough. I've really never smoked, so it's not bad. But I have this tickle cough. And if I forget and I don't move the microphone away from my mouth, if I don't turn it away and I cough, it'll key the radio up. I'm using an unamped D104. I didn't adjust the mic gain in the transmitter at all. And I changed the head on the microphone from last week because it was really weak. This one's a lot stronger. The microphone, again, is an unamped D104, but because of the age of the radio, I had purchased some years ago a D104. I have a couple of these with the riveted tag on the front of the D104 base and also on the head. So I hunted them up and got them when I can and made sure that they've got good elements in them. So going with the age of the radio, I'm using what I guess is an older D104 with a straight cord, and I like this. This is fun. It's just I have to remember what I'm doing, and right now I just flipped the switch down to the Vox. I did this past week because of Mike wanted to know how many radios have Voxes on them. Or could you put a Vox on 11-meter radio? Well, yeah, you can, but it's a pain. You really got to play with it to get it to work right. But I was thinking, you know, there are few radios that have the magic eye tube. Probably about 6, maybe 7 different radios, CB radios with the magic eye tube. Well, how many of the CB radios did come with a Vox? Well, so far, I think I've only found the S9 transmitter. But I'm going to try and do some research to see how many actual 11-meter radios did come with a Vox as an option, or it was with the radio there. They took this out with the 23S9. But here it is in the S9 with the R2700 combination.
And sounding good and dispelling any rumors to the contrary that there was never a Vox on a Browning. You heard it here first. Or was it last? I don't know. The Old Tube Radio Network, Radio 3. Thanks, Harvey, for that. Spend a little extra time with that. Always good to find out a bit of history and clear up any misconceptions about the radios. Even like the one earlier about the tram with the red knobs. And I noticed that often Mitch will run to the files, the history files, way in the back of the Old Tube Radio Network building and come up with something. And he found that the red knob version of the, I think you heard us, Harvey, we're talking about the tram. Maybe I can put that back up. There it is. The tram that DD21 was on tonight, JT on Old Radio Night. And Mitch found out that the red knob version was a one-off custom made for Santa Claus to remind him of Rudolph. Just saying, you know, they laughed. All the other trams playing their radio games laughed at that red-nosed tram, but it helped Santa. And it says something about if you press the red spot button, it will play Jingle Bells. So these are things like the Vox and the red knobs that you can only find out about on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Mr. Bill had a 27E with red inserts in the knobs. The big channel selector up on top did not have the extra big round red part. It just had a red insert. He had that, but eventually he did sell that. But that's the only other one I've seen like that.
Special stuff. Maybe that was another Santa version. Let me say hello to 97 Boston. Also listening in, Cornbread is on the link tonight. GWD Labs from behind all the blinking lights out there is listening in tonight. And thank you, Harvey. We are listening for radio number 4 on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Is there a radio 4? They're waving. What is it? Can we do that? Yeah, the Google bots are listening, but see, we have selected music that is non-copyright infringement. I have they're waving the 8-track. I don't even know where the 8-track comes through on the audio board. Maybe we can't do this. I don't even know where the 8-track comes in. All right, go ahead and pop it in there. I mean, this is sort of the Christmas, pre-Christmas version of the Old Tube Radio Network. Let me see. All right, just go ahead and run it. I'm going to bring up this control. You tell me if that's going to... Yeah, okay, that's it. The Espresso Trucking Company. A little holiday fare for you here while we wait for Radio 4.
It's It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Everywhere I go, take a look at the meter bend, rocking it once again. At 30 over 9 now, don't you know? It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Skip around the dial, but the prettiest sight to see will be a linear for me on my own front porch. Pair of match final tubes and a noise of the tubes is the wish of Barney and Ben. Mics that will ring in a rig that will ping is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for sunspots once again. It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Everywhere I tune, there's a glow in my radio, on standby for the big show, with stacked PDLs pointed at the moon. It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Soon the fun will start. Christmas greetings will fill your shack. I'll be beaming from my stack right within your heart.
You know, that's actually very good, a very good quality off the 8-track. I applaud you guys, and it is beginning to look a lot like DX's Cycle 25 starts up.
A pair of matched final tubes and a noise of toots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Mics that will ring and a rig that will ping is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for sunspots once again. It's beginning to sound a lot like DX. Soon the fun will start. Christmas greetings will fill your shack. I'll be beaming from my stack right within your
Ah, yes, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas here at the Old Tube Radio Network, the Special Trucking Company. That's not bad for the 8-track. They'll have to send us more 8-tracks. That worked out pretty good. And Harvey, if you are listening, I missed the comments because I was trying to get this thing set up. The radio, the tram with the red knobs that JT had on tonight, he got that from, maybe you saw it in the shop. He picked that up from Mr. Bill. Over. I bet Harvey saw that in the shop at some point. So maybe it was a Red Monkey special, a red knobbed Red Monkey special. OTR is looking for radio number 4.
Oh, what the heck. I'll jump in and be number 4. 45.
And 45. Hey, Paul, standby 1 will be right with you. And hello, Mr. Ed. I guess the music put us in a holiday mode, and people are switching on the radios to warm up. What have you got, number 7?
Well, this time the Browning Mark III SSB.
Browning Laboratories Mark III SSB. Do you have any decorations around the radio tonight?
You know, no decorations around the radio, but the Browning has kind of a golden yellow lights in there instead of the clear ones. It's got, of course, the red on the air light, and then the tram was green, so I'm in the festive colors anyway.
It is festive. I have a different shot here. I don't know what it is with the Browning radios, but they don't, since the page has been reconfigured, they don't show up just quite right. So let's go there. Okay. I don't know. There's no credit on that one. That is a great shot. It's got the 2 Brownings. Looks like Browning never made a VFO, but you could put a VFO on that thing. Of course, you don't need one for Channel 11. Right out of the box, you can fire it right up in 27085. Over.
And there you go. This one also has the static gold-plated D104 from 1976, the bicentennial issue, numbered and everything.
And it sounds great. It's always fires up and sounds like a Browning should. From 1972 to 1976, the Mark IIIs, pretty much the top of the line, and the top dollar as well. Give us another transmission on Radio 4, and I'm glad you made it back in the radio room to give us that one.
No problem. My pleasure. I like bringing the old radios by. I'll see if I can get one more warmed up before it's over.
Yeah, beginning to sound a lot like DX. Let's put that one up on the corner as Paul, SWL45, walks up into the air chair. Thanks for being patient, Paul. You have Radio 5. Give us a transmission. Over.
Okay. This is my Polycom 2.
All right, from Polycom, or Polytronics rather. Let's see what I can find out. The Polycom 2. There were a couple of 2s. There's a Roman numeral 2 and the number 2. I'm going to go with the Roman numeral 2 because I think if I go with the number 2, it's going to show up with a 2-meter radio. So hopefully I am getting in the ballpark here with this very green Polytronics. Over.
Roman numeral, correct. Yeah, this is just, I believe the first one they came out with. That's the Sam Volume 2. Manifested by Lord. Man can change that one. Manifested.
All right, good signal. Check the microphonium. You may have to get closer, or if that's one of those weird ones where the front looks like the back and the back looks like the front, you're about 10% on the modulation. So give us another transmission and see if we can get a little bit more audio out of that radio. Over.
Back off.
Okay, yeah, it's very weak. The audio is very weak. I can hear you on voice peaks, but for the most part, it's a little rough on the audio. You have a really good signal on that though, coming down. Over.
Yeah, I'm having something now receiving for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, back to this now. The owner just thinks we have 4-channel one. That's the first one to come out. Have it be kind of all the that's on the radio. That's the white spot right. Retail radio, like I said, started when I had the hand was pretty good.
All right, with the 4 channels, yeah, audio is really rough, about 10%, and you occasionally get a voice peak that comes through. So I'm not sure if it's a mic issue or it just is having a bad day, which is possible. But the audio is weak. It looks like there may be, I don't know if that's a light above the microphone that would be the mod light. The Polytronics Polycom number 2. I was looking to see if I have any information about what Sam's photo fax it might be in. Obviously, it's going to be in one of the early versions, but I don't see anything there. But it is definitely a 4-channel, crystal controlled. You could write the channels in on that little badge on the front, and ANL. So we can't find out much about it. Yeah, this one is performing nice on the signal, Paul, but the audio is very weak tonight. So I know we've heard it better in the past. Back to you.
Okay, this is the Bristol mic tape with the thing. So don't know what to say. Maybe we have to this has a nice, very heavy microphone. It's like real heavy noise. Microphone. I think it's made by Turner. Well, anyway, do a little better next time. Let's fix it out. That's checking it in.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. Obviously, one of those 4 channels is channel 11, but one of the other ones might be 19 or 9, as that was a very popular channel, or 7 or 14. The Polytronics Polycom 2 from probably the early 1960s, and we'll see if we can't get some more audio out of it next time. Thanks for bringing it by, Paul. And Dwayne, I wish I had, I was looking through the files, I wish I had some more info on this radio, at least maybe a Sam's PhotoFax page or number or something. And it's almost like not even a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
27.085 OTR, channel 11.
And the break OTR, go ahead.
Good evening, Dennis. Can I get a check-in for myself at WL17?
Yes, I'm going over to the big SWL list. And I'm punching the 17 knob. I'm rotating the 17 button, and it is lighting up like the proverbial Christmas tree. So you are checked in there over.
Thank you very much. While we're here, might as well check in the Courier Royale.
That would be a great thing. The Courier Royale is making some good audio and a good signal into the Old Tube radio network tonight. I wasn't sure. I know you can make it in on the 100 milliwatts, but I think the Courier is working. And I actually have a picture. I'm going to find it. So take a transmission, and you've posted a great picture of the offending radios, and I'll see if I can find that and pop it up here on the video. Over.
Sounds like a good idea. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
I'm checking it. All right, let me go full screen here. Let me go even more full screen. And there it is. That is a nice looking radio. I see why people really like those. With the two-tone color. And of course, that was I think it might have been their last tube radio, the top of the line radio with just about everything in it. Looks like it is perfectly aligned up on channel 11, and it is our radio number 6. And come on back with another transmission. Over.
All right. Do you have is that the one I posted on the internet last week? Is the TRC handy-talkie?
Yeah, like I said, that has all the offending items there that we heard you on last week. I guess that's the portable unit that I heard you check in on when you were, I don't know, inside or something. So that's not bad. And then up to the big guns, which you were hearing right now.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to have this, the desk mic. I have the original handheld microphone for it. Back in the day, eBay, you could find things like this. And that's where I found it many years ago. Back when I started playing with the old tube and wiggling them and making them glow in the dark again and bringing some of these radios back from the grave.
Absolutely. You make a good point. When we first started, obviously, there was no eBay, and most of the radios were coming from local shops that were closing down and their stock, or places like Red Monkey, where you could go in and pick up the radio, and yard sales, and somebody would find something, Uncle Fred has something up in a box in the closet, and then eBay started happening, and in early infancy, you could find a good deal, and all of a sudden we started getting radios that we never heard before because this avenue had opened up worldwide, so to speak, to bring in the radios, and the prices were fairly reasonable, and then things kind of got out of hand. I don't know what happened, but things kind of got out of hand. But obviously they're still available, and obviously people are still finding workable deals that are from reliable sellers, and that has helped us, our diversity, our radio diversity out. But it's still good to hear some of the old favorites like your Courier Royale on our Radio 6 tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. I would like to say that since our last weekend out here, I have ran across a number of Facebook organizations. I didn't realize there was that many people into these old tube radios. And it appears that the interconnection between us and the West is letting those out there hear us from far out land. So anyway, thanks, Dennis, and Radio Tube, Red Glow in the Dark, or where it's at.
Absolutely, real radios glow in the dark, and you make another good point. The internet has helped open up the avenue. It helped us with the audio streaming, just so that we could kind of share what we do here on the Universal Media Netweb, and then a lot of the Facebook pages, which I'm always enamored and amazed at the people that run those and the amount of time they have to spend to configure everything and keep everything running smoothly. And like you said, there are quite a few tube radio, or not even tube radio, but just CB. Here's a couple: Antique CB Radio pre-1977, CB Radio Lounge, the CB Radio Connection, High Fidelity CB Radio, 11-meter CB Junkies, Vintage CB Radio, Fans of Demco, CB Radio and related equipment, Vintage Tube CB Radio, Worldwide Sidebanders, Rich Anderson and the group over at CB Radio News. And it goes on, and we are appreciative for those who are able to actually take the time to do that. And of course, our favorite, right? The old tube CB Radio network, where we're pulling off the picture that you're seeing right there. So it's alive and well. There are people doing similar things like we've been doing here for 35 years. JT and the old radio night, and we always encourage everybody, no matter where you are, no matter what type of radio you have, to get on the CB radio, get on any radio, and just have some fun. Because you know what? You will never get a bill. Like that internet thing on your phone, you will never get a bill at the end of the month for talking to somebody on your CB radio. OTR standing by.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
Yeah, that Polycom is in book 2, and I believe the light below the little channel indicator box where you write the channel numbers is a neon modulation light.
That's what I was thinking. It looked like it might be modulation. I don't know. You were having trouble hearing Paul, and he had a good signal, but his modulation was very weak. But you could hear it on his audio peaks. It would actually come up. So it was a gain thing. I don't know if it was just not close to the microphone, or if the element on the microphone is failing, or if he's just have some gain, the audio amp modulation stuff in the radio just isn't up to snuff tonight. But it had audio, but it wasn't very beefy, as it were.
Oh boy. Okay. It's either the microphone or one half of his audio amp tube. Half of it does audio amp on receive. The other half does audio amp on transmit. So if one half of it's bad, there you go.
Good. And Dwayne, SWL30, was mentioning that a friend of him, I think he was talking about the Polycom, that a friend of his had picked up one of those. So you say that's in, if you can find Sam's photo fax number 2, over?
Yeah, book 2.
All right. I figured it looked like it was one of those 1959, 60, 61 style of radios. So I figured if it was in a book, it had to be in one of the early ones. Thanks. I'm just checking the Jingle Singers. They are just having too much fun over there. I told them tonight, to have a good time, but I do want them to earn their keep. You're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
For those watching the video, I always like to put up the REA meter when the Jingle Singers, anything's coming through the board, I can kind of gauge if I've got the audio control set up to at least get 100% modulation up there. So it looked like we're working. Looking for radio number 7 before we sign out here tonight. And it is getting late. Keith out there on the West Coast saying good night. 73 to you, and have a great Christmas. And the SBE console, yeah, that was a fancy radio for its time. SBE. I don't know if that's the SBE Sideband Engineers SBE, because they also made some amateur radio stuff as well. But I remember those in the early 70s, kind of rivaling the Trams and the Brownings. And since they were kind of into the amateur radio thing, putting a Vox on was probably not a hard thing to do.
Dennis, you might need to proxy me in next week if I don't get back in time.
Okay, I'm thinking today is the 19th, so we're going to be on the 26th, so that'll be the day after. And as far as I know, there will be people in Studio B, and the air chair will be available for the Old Tube Radio Network. So if you're not around live and direct, we will get you checked in anyway. And as always, you know where to find us at oldtuberadio.net. Now, Harvey, did you ever run any of the SBE radios, like the Console or the Console 2? This would have been, when they were out in like early 70s. They were expensive and they were big, I remember.
There, no pain. Console 5, I still have it. I think it's Console 5. It was their 40-channel sideband with the, desk mic, amplified desk mic. I've got that somewhere around here. In fact, I was thinking of putting it in here as a quickie, hook it up, run it, if I had to run something fast, instant on type deal. Yeah, Console 5, they had problems with their channel selector, but I think mine works.
All right, and good night to Warthog 95 from Orlando, Florida. Check that one out when you find it. When you find it up and put it into the radio spot, there are rumors that that also has Vox.
Oh, God, trashy old thing. In fact, what the heck time is it? You going to be on for at least another 5 minutes?
Yeah, I still got to do counting and amounting, and I got started late, so that'll give us the 5 minutes that I took from reconfiguring everything. So yeah, that'll give me some time to figure out stuff here. And we are looking for Radio 7, by the way.
Okay, it's out in the garage. I'll go look.
All right, we'll get a report back and see what you can find. Who was it? Mitch mentioned the SBE radios. That seemed to be a thing for them, the Vox, which I would suspect, like I said, the size and the bigness and the fact that they may or may not have been into some amateur radio stuff too. It'd be just kind of a natural thing to keep it in the circuit. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
How about the radio without Vox from the Radio Lounge?
Yeah, this is the, that I heard someone keying up there. This is the without Vox frequency. Go ahead, over.
Well, I'll tell you, I was going to do a mobile tube check-in from Christmas Tree Lane tonight. Although, man, that place is just completely packed, or at least it was a while ago. So I thought I'd play it safe and kind of seclude myself in the radio lounge here with something that wouldn't quite go quite so well on the road, a two-piece radio, Browning R27F23.
Sounding good. I've seen the traffic. I actually go down Maroa when I'm coming home from the radio station, and you can see they've blocked off. You can't make a left turn. You can't make a right turn, and they're making the traffic come in now off of Blackstone. So when I go up to Dakota and over to Blackstone, it's hard to get across the Blackstone because it's a gridlock. People just go through the intersection, and then they'll cut in front of you making a left turn, trying to get into that other lane. It's crazy. So again, I really appreciate probably the hours and hours you spent, even though we only were able to chat with you about 5 minutes, the hours of pre-prep it took to actually get into that spot. So thanks again. And I've got a picture of the radio on which you are speaking, which I think is the Eagle, the first R27S23 from Browning. Back to you.
Yeah, that's funny. You've brought this up before. It does not have an Eagle on the speaker in the transmitter, or the receiver. And I know apparently you're going to know more about this than I do. Apparently, on these the receivers, quite often on the Browning radios, I think there's some sort of a plastic or maybe even a metal. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a metal Eagle. Kind of glued on there, riveted or whatever on the speaker itself. This one doesn't have any cool stuff like that. I actually wish it would, but it does have a kind of a black Eagle, I guess, painted on the transmitter, right in between the channel selector knob and the huge, ginormous on-the-air lamp. I always forget to talk about that. Is it one of my favorite features about this radio? I think it is. I think I've made this comment before. I'm kind of moth-like. I enjoy things that light up. And this on-the-air lamp definitely is doing that. Someone ought to write a book. There are books about everything, Porsches or anything, old weapons, World War II weapons. Someone ought to write a book about just all the on the kind of vertically oriented. It goes up and down, and on the air, one word is on top of the other, and it's kind of got a downward slant on each word. Someone thought this through. If it was someone shallow like me, I would have just put on the air, just perfectly stacked on top of each other. But now someone had style, and again, each word kind of slants downwards towards the right. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you could zoom in on that online if you have that capability, but someone was thinking. I like that style.
I believe you're right. Well, let's still think that we're made in USA. The Browning was a big factory employing hundreds of people. And so no doubt in part of that payroll, there's probably a design crew or design people that would come up and have their, I don't know who they call it, as a focus group or not. Here's the closer picture. I think because of this shot, the on-the-air light, it's so bright, it's washing out any lettering that's on there. There is the first adornment of the eagle, which is sort of a silhouette or a side shot of the eagle head on the front, which probably is why it was called the eagle. And again, there may have been some committee saying, all right, we need a name. We need a name for the radio, a brand. And there it was. Sounding good. Good transmission all the way through. The audio is nice. It is the 64, 65, 66, or 64, 65 offering from Browning. Back to you.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. So I always struggle with new things to say. I feel so boring. Well, I'm sure I am boring. But I think I just accidentally ran across something I really have not talked about in a long time, if ever. On this, on the transmitter, right in between the power switch and the spot knob, there is another knob. What is it labeled at? I can't see. Well, it just says meter. So there's of course, some sort of a needle meter on this thing. And on this thing, you can select what I assume is reflected forward and modulation. And this particular knob has been on modulation forever, and I have never really paid attention to it. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you've made a comment on my modulation before. I don't even know how to read this because at some point in time, or when I speak, it does go all the way up to 100% modulation, but it's kind of sticking around between maybe 50 and 80, somewhere around there, depending on the tone of my voice. Well, this is interesting.
The Browning mod meters are notorious, at least on the Mark IIIs, maybe the Mark II, for just smashing against the side of the case when you talk. And so a lot of people don't even keep it in the mod switch mode because they're just afraid. And I was like that with the Browning. And Harvey even says the same thing. It's just, I hate to put it on there on the Mark IIIs because it's just pinning the meter, smashing it, and you think it's going to damage something. Yours sounds a little bit more friendly for looking at modulation. It's also because you are in the worlds of Browning. I think it sounds good, but for a Browning radio, you are probably running the thing very conservatively. I think. Are you on a +2? You told me the microphone. When you come back, give us your microphonium again. So my guess is if you were anywhere close to what would be called a screaming eagle, you would see that thing just smashing up against the side of the case when you were in the mod mode. Over.
Okay. Well, I did switch it, and yeah, I will tell you in modulation, whatever mode selection, yeah, that needle it just goes all over the place. And I got to tell you, this is a miracle because I've never, ever, ever really messed with this at all, to be honest with you. And I'm learning something. So I moved it to forward, and that sucker is
just absolutely pegged right at 52. Whatever that is measuring, that meter is not going anywhere. It's at 52 something. Lord knows what it's measuring right now. You know, I wonder if I should. I'm going to unkey for just a second. So we're at 52 something and forward. I'm going to go to reflected. Let's see. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is way low. Like maybe somewhere in between. Well, this meter goes from 0 to 25 to 50, 75, 100, and we're probably somewhere in between 0 and 25. So I don't know if you want to make a comment on that. I don't know what it's measuring right now, but we're on reflected. Yep, and 52 on forward. And there it is. Ooh, this is fun. New knobs that have not been touched in a long time.
Trying to break his radio.
This is the break your radio frequency. Well, yeah, if you're going to the forward, then there should be a knob maybe next there that sets it to the edge. You know, get your forward calibrated, your calibrate, as it were, and then you switch to your reflected, and like you said, it should be very low as you go back to the other side. So if your forward is calibrated. And then, of course, the mod light as well. We're talking with radio number 7, and that is the Browning Eagle R27S23. All right, and then Harvey is listening, and Harvey, Mitch, who is really into the Trinidads. I think he remembered that the Console 5 is one of the SBEs that does not have a Vox, and you may be able to confirm that for us when we get back to you. So hang on to that thought. Let's go back to Radio 7. Over.
Okay. Well, yeah, this is definitely food for thought. I know how to use an SWR meter, and it's definitely, I don't know how accurate this thing would be. I know how to, the reflected power, I know the forward and all that good stuff. This can't be as accurate as like a bird meter. But, dude, this is kind of curious. Okay. I don't know. Well, I don't want to say much more than that. I don't want to take up more time than I should. But thanks for letting me check it in. The microphone I'm using is the unamplified banana-style mic, which is it's a great microphone to use. Ergonomically, it feels very natural. Anyways, two-piece radio R27S23. And I know it's weird to make this comment, but it smells wonderful. I was kind of bending around over the radio to see. I think somewhere in the back it says it may have been stamped with Series 2, I think. I was kind of looking around for that. It's hard to see unless you kind of pull the radio out from the wall. But anyways, there it is. And I'm going to have to do some more research on this fun knob. But on that, I'm going to bid you a good evening, and thanks for letting me check it in, and happy Christmas to all.
All right, thanks for bringing it by, and thanks for sticking with us one more time in the 00. And, you know, it's relative, the accuracy, but the fact that it's built into the radio and it's showing forward and reflected should give you a pretty decent item of what is actually happening at the antenna. So if you were able to move things around or get a tuning, antenna tuner, you could put that thing in your reflected and move your tuning knobs, and if you got it down to 0, you would know you were even better match, because it's definitely going to show you forward and reflected regardless of whether it's calibrated to a bird or not. All right, it is getting late, but I want to go back to Harvey and get what he thank you Mike, and get what he has to say as well. Hello 20.
The Console 5, no Vox switch on the front. At least I couldn't see one. I couldn't reach it to turn it around to look at the back, but no switch on the front. And I don't believe it's in SAM, so it can't look there. But if there's another 11-meter radio with a Vox in it, maybe somebody listening can send you can post it, and then we'll go find that radio, at least a picture or schematic or something on it, so we can see how they did that one. But I think I have another S9 transmitter somewhere. If I do, I'll check it out, see if the Vox works on it. It'd be nice. Be nice to know. Anyway, no Vox on the Console 5 as far as I know.
All right, well, a couple of the models of the SBEs do. Model 5 isn't one of them. Let's see, he says, double check. The 5 does not have the Vox, but the Super Console and the Console 2 do. And there's typically a switch on the back, a Vox switch on the back, and you have to, it says you had to run the matching SBE 100X mic, which also had a switch on the bottom for Vox operation. So that's probably doing something where it's feeding, it's feeding the audio through without having the microphone key. So you flip that switch, and it connects. It connects the audio up so it can hear that it needs to Vox without having to key the transmitter. That's why on the Browning I was asking all these questions. I thought, well, to do the Vox, it's got to have audio coming in all the time to hear it. And that seems to create some other problems. But I think the Browning is doing that anyway. All right, I go back to you for a comment, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and sign out. It is late here, so it's late everywhere else. Over.
Comment for me or Mike?
No, I think Mike is good. If you had a comment, go ahead. Otherwise, we're counting them out in here.
Console 2, huh? Well, I've got a picture of that radio. I'm going to go check out it.
Okay. It looks like if there is a Vox switch, it is on the back somewhere. Hey, John, it says he has an SBE console. Thank you. I just got to look at my comments. The SWL's know-all. 128 has an SBE console, and it has a Vox switch on back of chassis. What they were trying to compete with? All these radios came out about the time where the FT101 was starting to be a player. The Siltronics, when the sideband came in, the Siltronics. And then people started thinking, well, yeah, I'll spend that $600 or $700 for the SBE, for the Yaesu, the Yaesu 101, which also, I think, had Vox. So maybe they were trying to work on that. But I remember the SBE console was out about the same time and trying to be a competition for that. All right, they said, come on over to the green room. Yeah, I want to get over there. So okay. I cannot officially sign off unless we hear this.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final totals. And I'll be back in just a minute. I got to get the all my write-ups here.
Little bit of trivia, and I don't know if SBE did this on purpose, but they do have a switch for Vox on off, probably on the back of the radio, and in the Sam's Photo Fact, it's listed as switch S9. I mean, how appropriate. Switch S9.
Yeah, there was even a CB magazine, very well done by that same name. And if I was to put up the S meter, I think on that radio, you were also You are also coming in S9. Let me take a old buzzard transmission and get things signed out here. What do I want to do for the video? Let's go to the REA meter and see what I can do. The Old Tube Radio Network. My name is Dennis. Still is. Thanks for, we had a late start. The main computer here just decided to reset. I don't want to call it a crash. It just said, I'm just going to turn off and make you reset everything up, which usually takes about 20 minutes. At least it wasn't updating. All right. What was I doing? Oh, we're signing off here. We had 16 SWLs on page 1, 18 on page 2, 17 on page 3, 20 on page 1. I promise I will redo the list next week. We'll do the 00. I'll try and free up a couple of some new numbers for SWLs and do that. So total of 71 SWLs tonight. 7 radios, and I've got the tube complement, but I don't have a totals. That's 25, 37, 57, 58, 65. I'm just counting in my head. Or not counting in my head. And then 77, 80, 90. 90 tubes tonight from the 7 radios. And out of those 7 radios, the most heard manufacturer was Browning Laboratories, believe it or not. But we did start with the Tram TR27E, the non-Santa version. Although if you want to see the nice holiday version, pull up the YouTube of Old Radio Night. And JT is working those Christmas knobs. And I think he does press the spot button and play Jingle Bells at some point. Thanks, Mr. Ed, for starting us off with the Tram, radio number 2, the Browning R27 and S9 combination from Paul up in North Fork. Harvey on the west side with the R2700 S9 combination as well. And that was, I think he was demonstrating the Vox. We've been talking about Vox. Vox on a radio. That was probably the first one that I would say that was a Class D style radio that had Vox on it. That didn't last too long for Browning. A little impractical for EAM and a bit of difficulty to set in all the anti-trips and delays and things like that. But if you got it working, it would help you out. Radio number 4, Mr. Ed on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, the SSB version, which is the big transmitter with the standard Mark III receiver. Radio number 5, Paul on the Polytronics Polycom 2. And be interested to see how that radio comes out. Dwayne and a friend of his are working on one, seeing if they can get it going. Maybe a little bit better audio than we were hearing tonight from Paul. But the transmitter was doing good. Thanks for bringing it by. We like all radios, whether they're easy to hear or not easy to hear, as long as you're taking the time to key them up and bring them to the forum called the Old Tube Radio Network. We will endeavor to do our best to make sure they get checked in. Radio number 6, Eric on the Courier Royale. A nice picture on that. If you were on the walkie-talkie tonight, I didn't hear you, but you made a splash with it last week. Thanks for radio number 6, radio 7, the Browning Eagle, the first Eagle of the Browning series, the first series of Brownings to sport the Eagle, the R27 S23 from about 1965. Thanks to Frodix at SurgeLawrence.com. Who else? Thanks to all of you for taking time out on this busy pre-Christmas Saturday to jump into the radio room and say hello, radio, to us, our SWLs who take time out and plug in whatever their device of choice is to listen in. And doggone it, when are we going to get a bit of conditions? I know there are a lot of heavy-duty stations out there that can just key down, or is it key up, and just pop right into the net here. Got a lot of stations out there that will hear you, and we will be happy to come back to you for a transmission. Good night, all who are out there listening, and we will catch you next week. Have a great holiday, however you do it, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night, Dennis. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody.
And before I totally sign off, I'll refresh the comments and make sure there wasn't anything that I missed. Look at that. Where is my SWL list? SWL 59, Tyler. You know what? It's been so long that your number got dropped, but the number is still there. I'll put you back on, Tyler. Our beaconing station, at least the last time we heard Tyler, he was coming in actually live over the air from Alaska. And he might have been on the Palomar radio. Tyler, hello. I'm glad you remembered the Saturday night place to be. I'm not sure where you are at these days, but we are waving a hand, as they say, on 11 meters, and we've got you checked in. In fact, am I still up on the video? Yes, I am. So let's go to the radio S meter, and I'll go to the SWL check-ins, and we hope to hear you again. Maybe if the conditions are right wherever you're at, and whatever radio you're on, we'll check in. Thanks, Tyler. There is a 59 with the official check-in. I'm glad I refreshed the screen here.
Dennis, and good night.
Oh, you know what? I didn't put the antenna back on. Yes, I did. I put the antenna back on the HF radio, and there is nothing.
Hey, Mike, are you still there?
I've had a rainstorm there. There is nothing on HF. Oh, there's somebody. He's listening from afar, as they say.
Since he's interested in that meter, in the SWR, I was going to tell him how he figures out what's what with it.
All right, he was seeing the mod motion around, but I think he said it was between 80 and 100, so I'm going to say that's pretty accurate, because I know he wasn't 100% modulated on the Browning, but it sounded good. I told him if he was running it like most people run a Browning, the thing would be smashing up against the case.
Oh, yeah. I think it's okay. For the SWR, he has to put it on forward, turn the control so the meter reads 100, and then flip it to reflected, and then see what it reads. But since it's not an SWR scale on there, anything below, say, 20 on the meter is okay. 20 is 1.5 to 1.
Playing the match game. All right, I'm going to shut everything down here. Good night, all.
Juliet Echo Lima, any copy on November 7 X-ray Golf.
There's somebody just popping in on the HF radio, 3898. There's not been any contests this weekend.
Good night, Dennis. K4JL and KBTJR, I believe I'm copying a 4x4.
And Brian, you noticed that somebody else noticed that too, missing some radios in the back. Just the quick thing, what I did was I was redoing all the grounding. I was having severe RFI issues, so I took out everything that was in the coax switch, all the radios, and then started adding them back one by one and doing some grounding. So the radios that are missing that you're not seeing are the ones that I haven't added back yet. I've kind of got cold feet in adding those, but I need to do that because they are display radios, and they were up in the switch, so I'm going to get some grounding wires made for those, and hopefully I'll have some real estate to add that back. So thanks for noticing. And that is, 3 dot. Now, what am I on? I'm at 338.98, and it's a 7 talking to the 4. And of course, with my low vertical, I can't hear the guy in 4 land at all. And there's some carriers at 38.85. So if I was to go to the SDR over in Salt Lake, I bet they would be looking pretty good. Over.
Hey, Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
Is a grounding rod about 4 feet long?
It could be, but I would say a much better one would be about 8 feet long, and the kind you might find at Fresno Ag and or Home Depot would be of such. And I don't know what gauge it would be, a double aught or something. I don't think they rate it like that, but it'll be a nice 8-foot copper ground rod with maybe sort of a flat end on one and a rounded pointy end on the other side.
Okay. Well, at this new house, I went out to the shed that was already there, and around the side, sticking in the ground, looks to be a ground rod. It's got a pointy end on the bottom, kind of a flat type top where you would pound it in the ground, and about an inch or two from the top, there's a hole where I guess you could stick a wire or put a screw in there. I have to clean it. And below that, another hole about an inch farther down. It's kind of dirty and such. I have to clean it up. I saw what looked to be a couple of copper spots on it, but it's 4 feet long. Comment?
All right, that might work. And we have a comment, and you probably have a ground rod somewhere near your electrical power box coming into the house, I would think. Comment, go ahead.
Hey, since we have so much hard pan around here, I figured out a while back, I used a copper pipe, a 1/4-inch copper tube, connected a water hose to it, and used hydro power to bust through 3 layers of hard pan, and you could still pour water in it in the summertime to keep it wet down at the bottom.
That was to me. I couldn't hear him because of my stupid Christmas lights.
You were too festive. That was Eric, and he mentioned something I totally forgot about because I have no hard pan here. I hammered down an 8-foot ground rod once, and I pulled it out by hand because there's just sand around here. But where you're at, and he's probably right, you may have hard pan that you're going to notice at 3 feet or 4 feet, so that may be the best you can do in the situation. But he had a special device or a tool that worked with the hose and would help him to put in the ground rod, so to speak, to get into the hard pan. So keep that in mind, that you may find that you are in one of those areas.
Okay. Well, it's just amazing that it was already here. And I'm using it, I'm going to use it for something else right now. And it turns out to be perfect for it. And then I called my sister-in-law to ask her if I could use her sledgehammer to pound it in. She said, why? You got one behind the shed. And I go, what? And I look behind the shed, and it looks like the people left the sledgehammer back there.
What else did they leave in that shed?
I don't know. But I needed the ground rod or something like it
What
for
else
some other
did
purpose.
they leave in that shed?
Temporarily, and then I can use it for a ground rod. And then a sledgehammer, they just appeared. So I'm going to wish for a brand new car and $1 million, and then go out to the shed.
Oh man, you are dreaming. Have you looked at Santa's list to see what N you're under?
Okay. Yeah, it's the Christmas lights and 2 motorized things. We've got this motorized thing that turns in the front yard and another one in the living room. And on the radio, I can hear something cycling around even all the time, giving me a whine in the noise. And it's enough that it knocks out people that I normally would be able to hear, even though it would be rough. So after the holidays, I should be okay. Okay, I'm going to let you go then.
All right, me too. That's why when they put up the tree behind me, gosh, I'm still running the video. I'm sorry for people who are trying to... The tree behind me, they're using the old C7 lights. It's about a 20 or 30 string, and I think there's about 8 lights still working. And there is no, even though they're blinking, there's no crackling or popping from the fluorescence, from the incandescence, and no LEDs. Now, you don't remember, but back in the day, 35 years ago, when I had the giant tower up and I had the beaconing lights coming off the 55 tower, and it was 750 Christmas lights, and they were the standard. They weren't the LEDs. I didn't have any problems with those, but because of my juxtaposition to the AM radio station at that time that was about a mile away, I had to have the lights plugged in, or else my 75 meters would be wiped out because the station was at 1,300, so the third harmonic was at 39. And all those strings of lights, I think it was 6 or 7 strings of about 70 feet coming off the tower. And it just acted like this giant broadcast band antenna that was just mess things up. But if I grounded it through the AC plug, all that would go away. So I often had to run the lights continuously if I was on 75 meters. Good night, everybody. The Old Tube Radio Network will be back next week.
Night, Dennis. Take care.
The Bozo Beacon. And those lights are probably still around somewhere, and I bet none of them work. And they're the kind that if you had more than, out of the string of 70, they had more of 5 or 6 of them went out, the whole thing went out, and you had to sit there and unplug and plug in all 70 lights to find out the bad ones. Bye.